At the end of the Council of Ministers held on July 2nd, the Minister of State in charge of territorial administration, Emile Zerbo, announced that Burkina Faso now has 47 provinces and 17 regions. With this new administrative division, the country gains 2 new provinces: Diamankou, whose capital is Kankari, and Karapili, whose capital is Arbinda. Burkina also has 4 new regions named Somme, with Djibo as its capital, Serba, with Bogande as its capital, Tapua, with Diapiga as its capital, and Suru, with Tougon as its capital. According to Emile Zerbo, taking into account the defensive and security imperatives included in President Ibrahim Traoré's strategic vision, the former regions of Bouclé du Maroun, the East, and the Sahel, which alone represent 43% of the national territory, have been reorganized. And from this reorganization, 4 new regions have been created, as well as new provinces. The Burkinabe government has supported this new division by adopting a decree establishing local language place names for these districts. The decision stems from a desire to promote indigenous identities and cultural values. With the replacement of their old names, the 17 regions now bear local place names such as Banki, with Didougou as its capital, Joro, with Gawa as its capital, Gulmo, with Fadangoma as its capital, Garaigo, with Bobo Dioulasso as its capital, and so on and so forth. The same goes for the provinces. Samatenga will now be called Sambentenga. Lubertenga becomes Basatenga. Somme takes the name Diagaji, and Kasi will be called Cosine. The Burkinabe government has decreed a 6-month transitional period for the implementation of this administrative reorganization of the territory. In other news, Africa could stop all fertilizer imports as early as 2028. This is the commitment made by Nigerian billionaire Aliko Dangote on June 27th during the 32nd annual meetings of Afreximbank in Abuja. In 40 months, Africa will no longer import fertilizer from anywhere, he stated, promising to make his group the world's leading producer of urea, ahead of Qatar. Since 2021, Dangote has been operating a vast fertilizer plant in Nigeria with an annual capacity of 3 million tons of granulated urea. This project, costing $2.5 billion, has already enabled Nigeria to become a net exporter of nitrogen fertilizers, among the most widely used in the world. In the third quarter of 2021 alone, the country exported 300,000 tons of urea. According to the African Development Bank, or AFDB, Africa produces about 30 million tons of mineral fertilizers per year, which is more than double its consumption. However, the AFDB reports an annual supply deficit of nearly 2 million tons. Most of Africa's major fertilizer producers are based in North Africa and focus on phosphate fertilizers intended for both African and international markets. On the other hand, the majority of fertilizer imports involve nitrogen and potash products. Dangote's investment therefore represents a major step forward toward increasing the production of nitrogen fertilizers in Africa at a lower cost. His vertically integrated plant uses Nigeria's natural gas reserves to produce hydrogen, an essential raw material for making ammonia, which is a key component of urea. Other companies are also contributing to this effort, notably Indorama Aleem Fertilizer and Chemicals Limited, IEFCL, which operates a urea plant in River State with an annual capacity of 1.4 million tons. Dangote plans to expand his plant to surpass the Qatar fertilizer company, QAFCO, whose current annual production capacity reaches 5.6 million tons of urea. Such an expansion would further strengthen Africa's position in the global fertilizer market. Despite these advances, experts believe that Africa is still far from being self-sufficient in potash fertilizers like potassium chloride or MOP, muriate of potash, the most widely used potash fertilizers in the world. Production and potash mining remain very limited in Africa. In Nigeria, according to the 2022 edition of the West Africa Fertilizer Trade and Market Information Guide by IFDC, KCl or potassium chloride is the most imported fertilizer and the second most consumed. Globally, nearly 70% of potash reserves are located in the Northern Hemisphere, particularly in Canada, Russia, and Belarus. One of the most advanced projects on the continent is the Kola mine in Congo, developed by Kore Potash. This project aims for an annual production of 2.2 million tons. After several delays, Kore Potash now plans to begin work in January 2026, supported by a preliminary agreement with the OWI-RAM's investment fund. This funding, estimated at $2.2 billion, covers the entire cost of building the mine. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and leave your feedback in the comments. You can also follow us on our various platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and especially on the African social network Deba World, available on Android and iOS. For those who are interested, you can also join our WhatsApp community. All the useful links are in the description.